how do you write guitar parts that are captivating, emotional, and compelling? Well, today I'm going to give you 3 of my best tips on how to write guitar parts that are all of those things. So let's dive right into it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on so that you can see all my upcoming videos as they come out. We all yearn to write guitar parts that are melodic and they wrap around the melody and they're interesting, but it's such a hard thing to master. And although it's too big of a subject for me to cover in one video, today I'm going to give you 3 of the best tips on how to improve your guitar songwriting. Special thanks to Bell Dragonborn for suggesting this type of video. Tip number 1. Keep it simple. What do I mean by this? Well, I mean, don't overplay. Many times as a guitarist, especially if we're focused on the technical side of playing, we forget to just leave things alone and sometimes play a simple line if it's better for the context. Sometimes a shred-heavy, crazy, fast guitar passage will not work as well as a slow bend with a bunch of reverb on it. Now, it's not that one's inferior to the other or technically simpler, but focus more on getting the very most out of the notes. Really milk those notes for what they're worth, and then focus on technical ability. So do I mean just play power chords and never even touch an augmented or fancy jazz chord? Well, no, of course not. You still need to consider those options, but it's all what's good for the song. As you well know, many of the most famous guitar riffs were played with power chords or just bar chords, not because the guitarist wasn't good necessarily, but because it's just what the song needed. And they went on to be hits, so voila! Tip number 2, blur the lines between lead and rhythm guitar playing. I and many other musicians I know have fallen into the same trap of,
okay, I'm the rhythm guitarist. I'm just gonna go play power chords or play straight low notes on the low E string.
Or,
oh, I'm the lead guitarist. That just means I can only play on the high E string, and I'm only gonna play fast, and I'm gonna use alternate picking and be super technical.
No, stop. Destroy all that. Take it to the dumpster. Because the exciting parts of rhythm and lead in their playing styles is when you incorporate both sides of it. In fact, a lead guitar perhaps might even sound good on the lower strings where it blends more with the melodies of the bass or the rhythm guitars or the vocals or whatever it is. And likewise, a rhythm guitar part often sounds very cool when it's played on a higher string. Now, I don't mean the high E string, that would be weird, but you know, the G string or the D string, something like that. Instead of just playing power chords, insert a melodic note. It doesn't have to be diatonic even, and put it in the middle of a riff or a rhythm guitar part, and it will sound way cooler and way more interesting, and frankly, way harder for your rivals to figure out how you played it. So bonus points for that. So if you don't believe me that this will help your guitar playing, I'm going to take it to an example in just a minute once I talk about the 3rd tip. Tip number 3. Create more harmonies. Wrap around the vocal melodies or the other instruments and really focus on parts that can complement the other parts that are going and will not just add sonic noise. Again, you don't have to take it to the extreme and say, I'm just going to stick a melody in thirds on literally every part in the song. That would be ridiculous. But do consider more harmonies, because if you look at recordings, which I'm going to do in a minute, you'll see way more than you ever thought were there. And ironically, this holds true to many instruments, including voice, not just guitar. For me, as a songwriter, singer, producer, guitarist, many different things, I have found that people like harmonies. That's the one thing that I get noticed for the most. When I play someone a song, they're like,
I like the harmonies in that, or that sounds really nice.
Focus on that more and you'll find your guitar playing is way more interesting. Okay, now guys, I'm going to take it to an example to where I can prove everything I just said. This example is going to be the band NorthTale and their song Bring Down the Mountain, which I know is probably an obscure song to most of you, but it's a song I know and it's a song that beautifully illustrates the points I have. So, our example, NorthTale, Bring Down the Mountain. The first example is from the main riff of the song, so let's take a listen. So he's playing power chords. Right there was where he did that little lead part. And that's the part I want to point out, because this riff, this is the main riff of the song, but it beautifully demonstrates keeping it simple and using notes and, different melodies and blurring the lines between rhythm and lead. He's playing power chords and he's using that low 7th string as the pedal tone, if you will. If you don't know what a pedal tone is, check out my Fretboard Mastery review. It's a great book by Troy Stetna on theory. This is a very simple riff, but he's augmenting it with those different lead parts, the little tags at the end. So I really like that. And also I like how he's alternating the rhythm. It goes from, eighth notes, and then it goes to a triplet feel. So that's really cool. So now, guys, let's take a listen to the next example, which is from the bridge or pre-chorus or whatever you want to call it. So here we go. A little bit higher. And right there, he went with that really melodic, harmonized little tag, which is really cool. It was played, if you notice, it was panned out a little bit if my headphones are serving me right now. That is a great way to make things stand out, especially even if you're listening to speakers and not through headphones, you can tell that. So really cool there, way to use harmonies to accent the different transitions and things. And that's something too, he's transitioning into the chorus with, more vocals and stuff like that, and even a high lead guitar part that goes through the whole chorus. But he's still making use of rhythm and lead at the same time, which I think is really awesome. So let's take a listen to the next part, and this is going to be in the very last chorus and outro. You can hear those chunking guitar parts. It's just power chords, and he's using that low string. Yeah, there we go. And that was that part where at the very end, the dun da da dun dun da da da, that part he augmented by using that chunking pattern and not going into some crazy leady rhythm part, if you want to call it that. So really artistic, really great style. Bill Hudson, respect. So yeah, guys, I'm sure you can be seeing now what I mean by these 3 tips. If that song did not have them implemented, that would be a pretty boring song if he was just playing power chords and chunking on that low, 7th string. That would not be nearly as exciting and as interesting and as original, honestly. So now you've had an example, and you know that I'm not just making stuff up, which I should hope you know already, but if you're still not convinced that these things help, just know that these aren't things that I heard from somewhere else, or I'm saying just because it's a popular idea. These are 3 of the things that I have found have helped most in making my guitar parts interesting. And if you want to hear an example of some of my work, check out the single that I have on my channel right now. It's called Stand Together for the Glory. It's up in the cards and down in the description. That song has harmonies, it has rhythm guitars, it has keeping it simple, it has all of it. So check it out. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments below, and share it with all your musical buddies. Till next time, guys. Rock on, and God bless.